Item number 1 is hearing on the proposed ordinance adopting the technical codes 2024 of the City of Montgomery with additions and deletions.
Okay, Mr. Tate or someone from the Building Codes Department, please come forward.
Hello,
Mr.
Mr.
Carter.
President, Council. This is a adoption of the 2024 building code.
Hold 1 second, Mr. Tate. Mike, can we get some volume? Volume. Like pump up the volume. Okay, you're ready now.
Yes, thank you for hearing me. This is an adoption of the 2024 building codes. Y'all got a handout in front of you where we put this out for a public service announcement back on May the 8th. We met with the Greater Montgomery Home Builders and the Alabama Home Builders Association.
Speaking to your mic, please.
Okay, I didn't want to get too loud.
No, be loud, we want to hear you.
Okay, once again, this is an adoption of the 2024 building code. In front of you, you have a public service announcement that was put out on May the 28th. We subsequently met with the Montgomery Home Builders Association, Greater Montgomery Home Builders Association, and that was on June the 4th in the building official's office. This has also been advertised on our website since May the 28th. You see a list of stakeholders that was sent out for everybody in the state. That's anything to do with construction or architectural or engineering. So what we're asking is that since we've had all this time frame, is that y'all go ahead and consider public hearing for this today and to go ahead and offer an adoption for the codes. This will affect our BSEGS scores. For those of y'all that don't know what that is, that's similar to the ISO rating that the fire department has. And they'll be coming to our office to evaluate what codes we've adopted and how efficient that we are in our code enforcement.
Mr. President,
Mr. Jenwright?
when did they come into your office to do that official evaluation?
I believe they're coming right into the first of the year. I don't know exactly
Okay,
what day.
so another 2 weeks on this situation is not going to change that meeting at all.
Well, there's some other factors as far as getting it adopted and trying to get it done before the fiscal year starts.
Okay, but there is a meeting set up for next week to
There is a
address
meeting
this
set up
issue?
for Tuesday of next week.
Okay.
Mr. President, could I get Mr. Jimmy Rutland from the
Mr.
Home Builders to speak, or
I mean, Mr. Grimes, I'm sorry.
You need to do the public hearing in
We're
the
gonna do it in the
council
regular-
meeting
we're
because
gonna
we
do it in
won't
the
have
regular.
minutes of what he says in the work session.
Yeah, we got a public hearing on that in the old business, so it'll be a hearing in the regular meeting. And I think Mr. Rutland is here, right?
he's right there.
Yeah, so unless you want to talk about it twice. Okay, all right. So what, Thomas, if you would, Mr. Carter, what are some of the major changes in this ordinance? Mr. Tate, I'm sorry.
Let me say this. Generally speaking, building codes are amended throughout the year, throughout its cycle. So, and I agree, if there's some changes that need to be made, fine. If not, they're amended as we go along. But the issue in front of us is a little bit different. We don't have any issues that the home builders are suggesting. Matter of fact, we got sent a list of about 12 items, and of those 12 items, we agree on all but one, and that's dealing with a set of stairs. The rest of it we have no issues with because we've seen this before, and it's not a threat in our case, in our estimation. So whether we do something tonight or in the future, ongoing amendments are going to be considered. So we do want to meet with those guys next week. I think it's Thursday, Jimmy. And we can talk about whatever issues they have then and come back with amendments, but we've got to get this through tonight so that we can stay on schedule to meet our BSEGs and other items that we have to comply with.
Okay, any other questions, Mr. Tate?
We're operating on the 2018 code now. It changes every 3 years. So we should have had a 21 code. We didn't upgrade on on the 21 code, is that correct?
No, sir, we did not adopt the 21 code. When I got here, we were on 18, and the objective was to let the 21 pass so that we could get a more updated code.
Okay.
We knew the 24 code was coming out, and that's what we strategically sought out to adopt at this point in time. The planning for this is not just now started this week. We looked at this 4 months ago, set a schedule in place so that we could be on target for the adoption today. And we think that we've done all that we have to do from a public notice perspective to give not only the home builders, but any other citizen in this town or state the appropriate notice. And we followed the rules that were laid out before us.
Mr. President,
Johnson.
Mr. Tate, could you tell, you said it was 12 items that they sent and one that they disagreed with. Could you talk to me because I don't know what that means?
Well, yeah, but just to make it simple, but believe me, these are technical codes, and I'm not assuming that you don't understand. I'm just simply saying the only one that we'll have a debate about, and we're open to talk about it next week or any other time, is what we call a stair configuration. That deals with the slope of a staircase.
Okay.
That's the only one, but sprinkler systems being eliminated from the residential building codes and those types of features, we have no problems with, because we do agree that it could be a little bit excessive for our area at this time. So really, we're down to one item, and that's the staircase, and I think we can resolve that rather quickly.
And Mr. Tate, what is the deadline that you have to meet for this? When is it and what is it for?
Well, we need to get these codes adopted today so that we can go into motion of notifying the public about the new code that's going to go into effect, when it's going to go into effect, what buildings, in this case, what houses will be affected and when they're constructed. And that's another process to get the public up to speed in terms of where we are and give them adequate time to make the adjustments in their office. So that's one issue. The other issue is in about 6 months, Thomas mentioned that BSEGS is coming, and that's a big deal for us. It's an accreditation agency that looks at our department. It looks at how we administer the code, the qualifications of the people that administer the building code, in this case, the residential code. And so that's really to protect the life safety of the people that are involved with these houses. So our position is that we need to be in place in a substantial amount of time so that when they do come, we can demonstrate that we have been able to administer code in a fashion that is proper and in order.
That's good. Mr. Tate, one last question, Mr. President. With this being delayed, how does it affect those 5,000 plus pieces of property that are in construction right now?
I'm not certain 5,000 in construction, but I'd have to double check. I can say this, we'll do about $4 million in permit fees by the end of the fiscal year. Mm-hmm. The percentage of residential permits that we issue is about 2% of that.
Okay.
So this is about a 2%, if you wanted to make a business case, this is a 2% argument. And we think that it should go forward because it doesn't have that big of an effect on where we're going with the development in the city of Montgomery.
So Mr. President, so Kippy, you're saying about $40,000 a year come off of residential permits?
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay.
I'd have to give you the exact figures. But so the residential permits are not the heavy hitters in our office. And that's not to say anything against the residential permits. It's just the fact that as we look at this and we track it every single month, the big ones are obviously the ones that are involved in our economic development strategies, but the permits for residential construction is minimal at this point.
And how does it affect the commercial piece? Those industrial build outs that we have going on, how is this affected?
So let me say it this way. I don't know if any of y'all remember encyclopedias. There were a bunch of them on the shelf, right? Mm-hmm. This is one volume, if you will, the residential building code is one volume of a list of maybe 12 volumes of building codes that we administer. So this piece does not have an effect on the commercial side. This argument that we're having today is centered around residential. So, like I said, if
Mr. President, let me ask you a question,
Hold
please.
on, hold on. Go ahead and finish, Mr. Tate. I'll come to you. I think Pruitt was next.
Yes, sir. Hey, real quick, I wanted to hear from Mr. Rutland. He's shaking his head on some of these things. And Mr. Tate, the only thing I disagree with about is we're talking about the small piece of residential. You know, we as a city just made a huge announcement. We're going to build 8,000 new homes over X number of years in the city of Montgomery. It's on our Facebook page. So, you know, I think the residential part, while it may be small in number, I think it's huge for the city of Montgomery that we get this thing right, and, you know, the same people that are building it, I think we should make sure we're all on the same page before we pass this.
Well, let me say this, Mr. Pruitt, and I know why we're having this long debate over the building code. It ain't about the building code. It ain't about the building code. I know why we're here. And I'm simply saying that it ain't about getting it right. There's no wrong in it. We can stay with the same building code, you'll just be outdated.
Yeah.
This is about trying to delay a process that we've had in place for months now, and I'm simply saying that if that's what you want to do, that's fine with me. The difference is this has nothing to do with those 8,000 houses you're talking about. Right. It really doesn't. They can build them under the 18 building code. My only challenge to you is if you want to spend $500,000 on a house for 3 years from now that was built under the code that was done in 2018, that's a choice that you and your family would have to make. But those houses won't be built to the latest building code, or residential code.
You know that ain't gonna happen. We're gonna adopt this code.
Well, I gotta have it.
I understand that, but I mean, again,
I got a question.
you wanna speak?
Mr. Jim Wright?
What code is Tarleton County, Elmore County going under?
I have no idea. I really don't.
That's our competitors for commercial, for residential.
Well, let me say this, Mr. Jenwright, and I'll say this, and I know we're on national TV. I dare say this, I hope we're on national TV. Those jurisdictions are not nearly as good as we are. Let's compare, and what determines how good we are is our B6 rating. And I'll put the city of Montgomery's B6 rating against anybody that we touch. And the reason I know that is because before I got here, think about a golf score. The higher the golf score, the worse you are. The city of Montgomery was at a 99 6 years ago. Guess where we are now? At a 3. So we didn't get from a 99 to a 3 by playing around with the building code. And our objective is to sit here and have a 15-minute presentation, just like the fire department did, when they got their 1. Because we're 2 points away from a 1, and this plays a major part because the weakest part in our score was the residential side. That's exactly right.
Okay.
So I like to have this portion of our discussion pass it, and if the home builders and we can have that discussion, honest, open discussion, but changes are going to come beyond 2 weeks. Changes will happen 2 years from now. We'll be back down here. So the point is, we're not saying the door is closed. We're just saying allow us to continue.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tate. Mr. Pruitt?
No, Mr. Rutland, you wanna say something real quick? And then we'll do it again in public hearing.
You don't hear?
Mr. Rutledge, center stage, please. You're on the main stage.
Thank you, sir. First, I want to compliment Mr. Tate and his department. They do a great job, and they've been working with us. The reason we're here is because the building department promised us a meeting next Tuesday at 2 o'clock to discuss the Greater Montgomery Home Builders Association's amendments and changes that we want to see. The 12 items are from the National Association of Home Builders, which we would obviously be behind as well, but local changes have not been presented to the building department. So that's why we're here, because we were promised a meeting that this would be carried over until the September meeting, and we would have that opportunity to sit down with them and go through this. This is the code book. It's over 1,000 pages. It's a lot to read. And this started in May. So we're just asking for 2 weeks. But, you know, I understand why they want to hurry up and get it done, and they're on a timeline, and nobody knows scheduling better than home builders. So, but we need 2 weeks.
All right. Anybody? Mr. Tate, you had a comment before we move on to item number 2.
I just want everybody to understand a couple of things. Well, no, one major thing. We can meet next Tuesday, next Wednesday, whatever day that was. That's not the issue. We're opening a meeting a year from now if concerns come up about the residential portion of the code or any other portion of the code. That's not the issue. The issue is we need to stay on schedule, and if changes come about based on our meeting, we can come down here in lockstep and ask you to amend the code. That's where we're coming from, but it's not a sense of we can't figure this out. We can figure it out, and when we figure it out, we'll come back in lockstep, and you won't have to make the decision. We'll already be there. All right?
Thank you, Mr. Tate. Any other questions before we move on? All right, Ms. Blaylock?
Item 2 is actually the ordinance
Yep.
itself adopting. Item 3, review of soul food kitchen, selling soul food.
All right,
sports
Mr. Bryant?
cafe. The finance department says he is scheduled to come in Friday to sign an agreement, so they're requesting it be carried over to the next meeting.
Okay. Mr. Bryant, do you have any questions on that?
I really don't. They've been handling
But my question is, we carried this over 2 weeks ago, right? So they couldn't schedule to come in before it comes back before the council. Anybody from the license division want to address that?
Yes, sir. He came in yesterday. I didn't know he was coming, but I was out of the office when he came in, and we scheduled an appointment for him to come in Friday. So if he doesn't come in, then I guess next council meeting I'm going to turn him over
Is
to
he
y'all.
still operating at this time?
This time he is.
Okay.
He was closed from like mid-July to about a week or two ago. He had to close to make some repairs.
Okay. Mr. Ryan?
Yes, Mr. President. Bob, did he bring any money with him by any chance?
That I don't know.
But, so he didn't leave a check or anything?
No.
All right.
Mr. President,
Mr. Mitchell?
I have one question for Bob.
Sure.
If you can answer it. I had a friend that was trying to do a business license online, and he said that he had to mail his check in. So we're not, it's 2024, so we're not capable of doing business license for us paying it online and doing.
Not at this time. We're in the midst of a software conversion, and that thing has been snafu.
Okay, because he said he had to mail his check, and he's
Yes.
just. Okay, thank you.
Item 4, resolution repealing legislation which created Montgomery City County Personnel Board and expressing council's intent to adopt an ordinance creating a city personnel board in accordance with Acts 2024-337.
Madam Clerk, I know we had a meeting on this yesterday, and Mike is saying it's carried this over to, I think, the second meeting in September, our last meeting, 30 days.
September the 17th,
Yep.
but you'll have to do that in the regular meeting.
Yeah,
Yes,
regular
sir.
meeting.
Item 5, ordinance granting a license to construct, install, and maintain license plate readers located on city right-of-way at North Decatur Street, at North Ripley Street westbound, and North Decatur Street at House Street northbound.
Ms. Johnson?
We carry that over indefinitely.
All right, we're going to carry it over.
Yeah.
All right.
Item 6, resolution setting hours of operation for 2600 North Belt Drive, the Montgomery International Dragway.
Ms. Beard?
We'll just handle this in our regular meeting, please. We'll handle it in our,
So what we handling?
we're going to adopt the resolution of the new hours for business of operations for the drag strip.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that Mr. Wheeler will be here.
Okay, so you got the new hours already?
Yes, sir. I've already handled every bit of it. Had a
Thank-
site visit, rode on the side-by-side, went down the drag strip. Good job.
Thank you, Ms. Beard.
You're welcome.
I didn't want you to keep me in the dark until the regular meeting.
Promise you, you'll never be in the dark
Thank you,
with
ma'am.
me. Thank you.
Item 7, application for towing company doing business as D&D Towing and Recovery, 562 Oliver Road.
All right, item 7. I think that's you too, Ms. Beard.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. This is a towing company that I made a site visit on, and then we pulled up some information. I'd like to, Teresa, do we want to go ahead and address this at this time?
The location that they have at 562 Oliver Road has a tenant inside the property, and they're wanting to park the truck outside And we require, in the business law office, we require a letter from the property owner giving them permission to park outside of the tenants. And I spoke with the owner yesterday, and he said no, he will not allow it to be parked there.
Mr. President, I went out on Sunday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, and I spoke with the address right here, Sophia's Event Center. This is her boyfriend that is putting this D&D towing there, but he was only going to park the tow truck, and now we've found that we've got cars in the back. It's just not a good situation, and so we're not going to be able to handle that.
Well, he can't park there anyway.
He can't park there anyway because
For
the business.
owner.
Right, the owner of the business.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Beard.
You're welcome.
Item 8, review of budget in motel 4409 Troy Highway.
Mr. Mitchell.
And Mr. President, still got some of the same issues, so I'm hoping that the owner will be here at the regular meeting.
The son notified me a little while ago he'll be here.
All right.
Item 9, review of Infusion Lounge 3905 Troy Highway.
Mr. Mitchell.
Mr. President, I thought they was gonna do some self-imposing on some things I wanted to see. They did not, so I want to put it in the minutes at the regular meeting.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Item 10, ordinance amending the City of Montgomery organizational chart to add the housing department.
All right, Mr. Hill, Mr. Reed, anyone want to talk on item number 10?
Colonel Reed.
He lost that rank when he retired, sir.
Never lose that rank. Real quick, we are looking to, and this is something the mayor has discussed over some time, is to create a housing department, coming back full circle to the earlier conversation, as we have a lot of housing projects in the city of Montgomery. In addition with that, affordable housing requests. Numerous council members have engaged with us about various affordable housing projects and workforce housing and then mixed-use housing, hopefully in the downtown area. This office will help us develop those plans, make sure that we have some synchronization and some oversight over all those plans. As it stands now, our community development department does some of that work, but it only is HUD work for the most part. So we're looking at a holistic housing department that won't be a large staff, roughly about 3 to 4 people max, but that department will work with commercial developers, folks in the affordable housing, workforce housing space, and then also looking at how do we maximize mixed use and mixed income housing in the downtown area also.
I got a question. So tell me how this, the cost will affect the city.
So this is a personnel cost. As you know, at any given time, we have a lapse rate in the city of Montgomery of about 30% of 30 to 40% of positions that may be filled or in the process of not being filled. It is not in this year's budget. We will work through it and work to sustain this particular department over the next year, but we want to make sure we have it on the org chart so we can do that planning for next budget cycle. But from a budget hit, it would be payroll, so it'd be somewhere for those 3 to 4 people, roughly about anywhere from $300,000 to $400,000 on payroll hit. But we, as you know, we have positions out there that aren't filled, so this would be absorbed in that role. Then we will move. I misspoke. Some of the positions will come out of community development into that department, so they're already on the org chart. We're just going to give it some oversight with a director who is qualified to do that in that space.
So it's going to fall up under economic development?
Yes, it will.
So we do have a written plan already laid out for this, correct?
A written plan?
On how we're going to operate this.
Yeah, there's a job description, there's a written plan.
You got your policies and procedures already.
Well, no, we got to work through that. I mean, the policies and procedures piece, that's what we're saying. We want it on the org chart. We have a year to work through all of those things. It's kind of the cart before the horse type of situation.
Mr. President.
Mr. Mitchell.
Mr. Reed, I just want to make sure, so creating this position, would it enable us, or would it help us facilitate a better relationship with Montgomery Housing Authority? Would
Exactly,
Would we be fighting for the same pot of money?
No.
Getting the same houses built? Because I want to make sure that, you know, the relationship with Montgomery Housing Authority is still standing.
Just the opposite. This person will be dedicated to do all things housing and be the belly button for the city of Montgomery when it comes to the Montgomery Housing Authority. Matter of fact, this person, if we hire the right person, will be a force multiplier with them, because just because the housing authority goes for certain dollars doesn't mean that we are competing. Matter of fact, this will allow us to enhance our capabilities, because as we say, we're only using one pipe to do that work, and that's the housing authority. Now you have the city in concert with the housing authority, and the housing authority only does one type of housing, and that is affordable housing. We're talking about workforce housing to go along with the growth we have with all these companies that are coming in that are going to have employees moving to the city of Montgomery. We also are looking at trying to urbanize housing and get a lot of the folks that are coming to like Air War College, Air Command and Staff College at Maxwell, get those folks closer to the base, not having to feel like they have to move out of the jurisdiction of the city of Montgomery because there's not housing that is attractive to them within our city limits. So we're looking to do that type of work.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. President, let me ask a question, please.
Mr. Enright,
Go ahead.
Is apartments under this too? I know we have apartments.
Yes.
We got lots of complaints about apartments.
Yes.
We need to.
Yes.
all right, thank you, Mr. Reed.
All right, thank you.
Item 12.
Item 11, ordinance imposing a moratorium on the issuance of building permits and approval of site development plans for solar electrical power generation facilities.
All right, council, I don't know what department had this put on the agenda. I know I had a couple conversations with a couple of you guys on a moratorium. My question would be, why would we be addressing a moratorium on something that never came before this council? You know, we hadn't had anyone petition us about this. So where did this come from? Anybody want to talk on this from?
Mr. Calhoun,
Mr.
who put this on there?
I have no idea.
Ms. Brenda?
It came to me from planning, from either Mr. Smith
No,
or
no,
Mr.
no.
Adams, I forget which one it was.
We're going to table it indefinitely, so if nobody want to talk, we can move on. Come on,
Well,
y'all.
I want to hear why.
Come on,
I want to hear why, because it's a big deal down there.
Yeah, we're shutting down
To
an
a lot
entire
of those-
industry just off of what?
But it's a
Yeah,
lot- it's a big
so
deal
that,
all
it
over.
didn't come from us, number one.
Okay.
But if you want to table it indefinitely, that's
sound
that's
like
fine,
one.
So
because we're,
it didn't come from you. Who did it come from? Chamber?
I have no idea.
It came out of sky.
Right.
Fell in
All
there.
right.
I can only tell you that it didn't come from planning
Yeah, pigeon
department, for
dropped
sure.
it over
Did not come from us.
Mr. Hill. No, I know it ain't coming from you, but from now on, stuff like this, it needs to come with the sponsor through the president so we'll know what we got coming before the council. I read this on Friday. I'm like, what is this? Okay, so it just zapped, like Bewitched is gone.
So
Thank you.
just so you know, there is a way that solar facilities are being handled right now through the zoning ordinance right now, and we are addressing it in
And I think you're working
the
on it.
zoning ordinance update to regulate and control those, so.
Okay,
Right.
all right, I think we're working on something to the future, but my question was, why would we put a moratorium? We hadn't had anyone
Who is
petition the
this,
council.
Mr. President?
I understand we
I
have.
have no idea.
Right.
Yeah, okay, Mr.
I understand there's been one through the planning commission already, somewhere along the line. Named Pine Hill or something like that.
Yes, there have, and I'll let Warren speak to the ones that have come before. But again, those don't traditionally come to you all at all.
Right.
Because they're requested on appeal through the Board of Zoning Adjustment.
All right.
Warren Adams, Land Use Control Administrator. Yes, we have one coming up this week on the Planning Commission agenda, a development plan review for one that has already been through the Board of Adjustment process. And we do have an application for a second one, a special exception for Silicon Ranch at Old T Dairy Road. The applicant has requested this be delayed until September the 19th. So we have one that has been to Board of Adjustment and approved, and the development plan is coming up for the Planning Commission this week. And we have a second one that is tentatively scheduled for Board of Adjustment on September 19th.
Mr. President.
Just to follow up, those items from the Board of Zoning Adjustment do not come to the city
Right,
council.
we know
They don't rise to you at all.
Mr. President, can I ask a question?
I assume yes.
Go ahead. Where is the one with the Board of Adjustments is already approved? Where is that property located, since it's not top secret anymore?
The Board of Adjustment that has already been approved is on Old Hayneville Road.
Okay.
It's on where?
Old Hayneville Road.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's been approved, and you don't know that?
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember the one, that was the one that Mr. Dunson spoke on several meetings ago.
Oh,
correct.
And I think that was a $100 million.
But I got a question, because I'm just looking at this computer where it got the planning committee board up here, Board of Adjustment. So this was done, and I know nothing about this, and it says City Council District 4, and it was done over here off of Old Hamer Road, and I know nothing about this. I mean, I'm trying to figure out why I don't know nothing about this, and I'm just not reading this.
Right.
I got an issue.
Mr. Brown. Can I speak?
All right. Right. So Miss Riley, that one actually was in March of 2023.
Oh, this is old 2023?
Yes, ma'am. It's just now coming up for Planning Commission.
If I may, I asked to speak. My name's Karen Bollinger, and the Silicon Ranch project, along with NextEra Ranch, is looking to consume 4,200 continuous acres in Hope Hole in the PJ. So this is a huge issue for the community. There are no safety measures that ADM has in place for solar. So we're asking the city, and this has come before the city, because of their charter, to help represent and protect the people of the community. With no environmental protections, no bonds, there's a host of problems with this that have been discussed through various meetings. The Planning Commission meeting, the IDP meeting, when the abatements were approved. And so now there's been a moratorium suggested so that we can put some of these safety and environmental issues to be looked at before the city, before you put 4,200 acres of solar panels out in Hope Hall and Snowden.
But the Hope Hall is not in the city of Montgomery.
It's in the
county.
PJ, and you guys you've got jurisdiction over the PJ according to the new ordinance and the old ordinance. And so this is the issue. You're putting these in our backyard.
No, we're not putting them nowhere. That's in the county. That came before the county commission.
No. This is the city doing this. These were already proposed and withdrawn twice from Silicon Ranch.
You know it's not.
It's not before.
When will this come before us?
It won't.
Mr. President,
Huh?
It won't. It only goes before the Board of Zoning Adjustment.
That's right.
It does not have to be rezoned. The property does
No,
not.
sir,
For
no.
solar panels.
Has
Correct.
to be rezoned.
No, they're saying it does
No,
not.
it does not. So this one is actually in an agricultural zoning, and this is allowed in agricultural
It
zoning.
is not. It is not. I have the full zoning. It's not allowed in agriculture. They got a special variance to put the old Hayneville Road one based off of saying that it was going to be for a nature. They got a special condition variance. Everything, the Silicon Ranch one was proposed before the zoning commission in May. They retracted their application because they didn't have everything in order. It got put before in June. It got retracted again and postponed in July. Now it was supposed to go August 15th last week. It was pulled again. The current city code claims that it has to be zoned. Under the new city code, which hasn't been adopted yet, says it can go in agri. But currently, not without a special permission of a variance and special conditions, can it be put in agri. It was proposed to be rezoned, and it was withdrawn.
Mr. President, can I say something?
Right. She is.
I'll come back to you, Rob.
Before you say that, okay. Yes, sir.
All right, ma'am, I know where the Silicon Ranch is. I know where that 1,000 acres is. It's contiguous to Meta. That was part of the deal when Meta come in and they wanted to be off the grid by 2025. Wasn't it not, Shelby? Didn't matter, but, so where's the other 3,200 acres?
The second phase of that is through NextEra, that's under lease. It's 1,600 continuous acres right next to the Silicon Ranch project that is to support Hyundai. Beyond that, NextEra has also leased up an additional 1,800 continuous acres that goes all the way through the rest of Hope Hole, across 65, wraps around the backside of Wasden, and connects to the new substation that is being proposed on Thursday
For the
by the
manor?
airport.
Yeah.
So this is literally surrounding us with 4,200 acres in the front of my front yard, all the way down across into Snowden. I'm speaking for our community. We've been fighting this for months. But again, we're in the PJ, so we don't have city council representation here. We don't have a voice. We don't get to vote.
Yeah.
This is good as it gets for us so that you can hear why we're concerned.
Yeah, so correction. It only is allowed in Ag 1 zoning on the appeal to the Board of Adjustment, assuming that the Board of Zoning Adjustment approves it. Okay. So that's where it is right now. But again, it would never rise to the city council for any kind
And
of
the Board of
approval.
Adjustment did approve it?
No.
No, it has not been voted on yet.
What she's talking about.
So this is kind of premature, that's before the council, in my opinion. Thank you.
I mean, and it will never come before you anyway.
Thank you.
So we were asking this moratorium got put on there because right now the state hasn't caught up with looking at environmental safety and the other parameters and the impact of what's happening with these solar farms. I'm a research scientist within the medical health field. I'm not a giant tree hugger. I'm all about progress. But I have to tell you, where we're getting these panels from overseas and installs, 50% of these panels go offline in 5 years.
Mr. President, what's your name again, ma'am?
Karen Bollinger.
Karen, and I think the issue across the board is, across the council is, nothing comes on the agenda without approaching and talking to a counselor and the president of the council. And we are all blindsided. No one talked to anyone.
She didn't put it on there, Marche. She didn't put it on
She
there.
said we're asking for a moratorium.
No, she didn't put it on there.
I didn't put this on the agenda, no.
Somebody had to go through Brenda to do
Mr.
that.
President.
It came to me by email. No, I'll have to look and see who the email came from.
Yeah,
But
she
it
didn't
came
have
from the
anything to do with it.
in-house.
She just showed up because of.
But she knew it was on
Let's
there.
solve the
Mr.
problem.
President.
I think we need to.
And it did not come from
Yeah, I
planning
think-
department either.
Mr. President, let's go
Mr.
to
President.
Ms. Bloodog. Can we make a motion, I guess, in the regular meeting to make sure all agenda item is approved or sponsored by a city council person?
We're
So,
going to handle that.
yes, sir. Thank you, Mr.
On this
President.
one today, I'll take the responsibility for it being, I'll be responsible. We need to go ahead and hold this thing up so we know more about what's going on. This is an issue we know none of.
So you put it on the agenda, Mr. Jenright?
Huh?
No.
I didn't put it on the agenda.
Yeah, he did.
You taking responsibility?
With reality, I mean, it's a serious situation.
Mr. President, I got one more question.
All right, okay. Go ahead.
And I appreciate your job. California is incredibly more cautious than we are, and they've got them everywhere, all over the West. So how are they getting by out there? Because they're a lot tougher environmentally than we are. It's no comparison.
They do something called the community benefit plan that goes under contract with the city. So these companies that are coming in and just leasing the land, when the land is used up after 20 years of end of life of the solar farms, then the landowner doesn't have, it's hazardous waste cleanup at that point. It's literally hazardous waste. North Carolina, you can find this, the state's paying $35,000 an acre to clean this up and try to even plant grass back on these things. So the point is, they put bonds in place that the city holds, so it can't be transferred out when these guys go and sell the lease to another company, and now we don't have a bond to clean it up. They put safety parameters that the water and soil has to be checked. That's just standard. I came from Texas, out in West Texas. They infiltrated our farms. West Texas has now got all of these safety parameters in place, just standard ones. It's called a community benefit plan. We're just a little behind, and we need to protect our citizens. We need to protect some of these chemicals they put in there. If you add rainwater because it cracks, guess what you make? Hydrochloric acid. If you have one panel crack, that's not such a big deal. If we have one of our storms or the hurricane winds come up, we've got a problem. So
Okay.
let's put some safety measures in place.
Okay, this is not gonna be voted on tonight, so we got time to discuss this as we go forward, so we're gonna move on to the next item. We think, you leave your number with the clerk, and we'll try to get you in on our meeting when we discuss this.
I have a number.
You have a number?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, thank you.
Hey, Mr. President.
Mr. Pruitt.
Is it worth us putting this into committee and have Robert and them come speak to us about this?
Hey, I don't have a problem with that.
What's that?
I don't care. We can do it in the regular meeting.
I don't know. I'm just asking.
All right.
But I would like to find out who put this on there.
You sit next to him. He's guilty. All right, item 12.
Ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute aggregate contracts of $25,000 or less without council review and approval through September 2025.
Mr. Massey.
No comment unless there's any question.
All right. Mr. Mitchell.
Mr. President, I just, I know state law that it requires us, but I don't know if state law requires us to do 25,000. I just don't know how many contracts that will come across our desk, and that we don't want to hold up anything in the city of Montgomery. I think that number is too low. If we can consider another number when it comes to those approving of contracts or reviewing of contracts. That's all I ask.
Ms. Bellinger. I think state law says $100,000.
The state law says all contracts should go before the council unless the council gives some kind of blanket authority.
Some kind of blanket, okay.
Yeah, Mr. President, just in case anybody was wondering, the only reason I pulled my number was just looking at some of our comparables. Huntsville, they all go to the council. Auburn's 30,000, Mobile's 15. Tuscaloosa's got a little bit different, so I think Birmingham was 10.
Mobile is 50.
I'm just saying, that's why I put it in at
You said
25.
15.
No, I said 15. That's what Mobile
It's
was.
50.
Not according to the clerk down there.
Birmingham's 10,
Yeah,
Mr.
Birmingham's
President.
10.
Hey, it's on the agenda. We'll address it as we get there. It's fine.
Can I say one thing about
say
the
two.
ordinance? It's only a technicality, but it
It's a
says
big one.
$25,000 or less, the mayor can sign. $25,000 or more has to have council approval, so it conflicts. 25,000 is up in the air. It says
should be
25 less, he can sign, 25 more.
That's so I can sign it if it's 25 exactly.
You could just fix that little.
Well, I'll tell we can work on an amendment to do 24.99 and then 25,000.
That's the only dog I have in this.
All right, thank you.
Wait, can I, Mr. President, also just point out too, I believe the second part of this, just so everybody's aware, is the authorization of the timeline as well. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, through September of 2025, commensurate with the budget year.
My question, Mr. Andrew, how would this affect the day-to-day operation of the city? Every contract that's $25,000 has to come before the council. When we meet every other week, so how would that operate on a day-to-day basis of the city of Montgomery?
Brenda has more knowledge about, she and I have actually talked about this.
Okay.
But other city councils have a consent agenda, I believe, and the contracts are put on the consent agenda, and Brenda knows the procedure a little bit more than I do on that.
So my question is, how many contracts, 25,000, contracts per month, per week goes through the city without I know we see all the major, the big ones, but the smaller ones, somebody cleaning the bricks outside and the sidewalks and those type things, a $10,000, $20,000 contract. How many of those we see per week, per month?
It varies. I signed 4 today. I'm the last person to sign to attest them. I signed 4 today. It may be 2 to 3 weeks before I sign another one.
Okay.
They vary.
So, Mr. President, so
Ladies
Brenda,
first, Ms. Pruitt.
thank you. Ms. Brenda, how does the consent agenda, how would that work if we added that into, is that an additional council meeting? Is that in a committee?
No, we would give you the information, let you look at it beforehand, but we would put it on as one item. We would list all the contracts, but you would just by one vote consent to all of those contracts.
Mr. President, it'd be
Y'all would
similar.
have to review them.
Sorry, Mr. President, it'd be similar to the way we do nuisance abatements and those types of things, correct?
That's correct.
All right.
Just, we'd give you a general summary of what the contract was for, who it was with, and the amount. And if you had further questions, then you could pull it off of the consent agenda for further information if you needed it.
Okay, Ms. Pruitt, you had something?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I got a gut feeling that we ain't voting on this tonight, so I would suggest we got a long.
Let's move on.
Yes, sir. That'll just be my gut feeling we ain't voting on.
That's why you my guy, Mr. Pruitt. All right, item 13 is resolution on nuisance. 14 is the same. Thank you, Madam Clerk. And our public communication work session minutes. Work session, we have budget review. We have Boys and Girls Club. Item number 1, Mr. Richard Jackson. I know it's
Mr.
Rick.
President, I want to make a point of order. Next year, Betty, Ms. Beville, next year, these people need to be included in our regular reviews when we do the department reviews.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot better, a lot easier.
I agree.
Hey, well, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
On this great day. First of all, I'm Rick Jackson, CEO for Boys and Girls of the River Region. Just want to take this time to thank the City of Montgomery for always supporting Boys and Girls Club throughout the years. Definitely thanks for the different council women and council men that designate money to us. We serve over 1,200 youth throughout Montgomery. We have the Chisholm Club, which is 2612 Lower Wetumpka Road. We have the Mount Meigs Club, that is actually out at Department of Youth Services, and we'll speak a little bit more about that. And also then the West End Boys and Girls Club, which is 220 Crenshaw Street. Matter of fact, we have Tabar Burden, who is a former member and now is the director of the Boys and Girls Club. If you don't know too much about Boys and Girls Club, we only charge $5 a year, and actually it costs $900 per kid to come to the Boys and Girls Club. But they only pay $5. They pay $10 in the summer, but they get 2 t-shirts, so we still kind of lose money on that one. Again, we can't tell you how much we really appreciate the City of Montgomery, what they do for us. We deal with kids from all across. We always say inner city kids, but all kids are welcome. Please take a...
Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
Thank you. Keep up the good work. Any questions for Mr. Jackson? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate what you do.
All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right. Child Protect, Ms. Kristen Bird. Trying to get the file.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, how you
Mr.
doing?
President, and I hate to say this, but it's Kristen Roy now.
Boy.
Oh,
congratulations.
Roy, R-O-Y. And I do have something for y'all, but I am the current executive director at Child Protect. You guys, just like Mr. Jackson and the Boys and Girls Club, have supported us. The city has taken care of us the past few years. What we do is offer services to victims of child abuse. So that includes sexual abuse, physical abuse, severe neglect, but also we see children who witness violent crimes. And we partner with law enforcement agencies such as MPD, the Sheriff's Office as well, and we work with DHR to provide forensic interviews. We also provide mental health counseling and advocacy services.
All right. Ms.
So
Boyd.
I don't want to run on too much because I'll...
Appreciate what you do. Thank you for coming. Any questions for Ms. Boyd?
You can leave it up here. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Boyd. Central Alabama Crime Stoppers, Mr. Tony Garrett and his team. Ms. Diane.
Stay put. I'm Tony Garrett. I'm Executive Director of Central Alabama Crime Stoppers. Thank you for the donation. Right now, we're working on a text-to-tip option for citizens that are at a football game, for example, basketball game, where they don't have to download the app, go to a website, and they can text a tip if they see a child with a gun or some type of incident. Remember, we had several incidents last year where citizens heard gunfire at a football game. So we're trying to put that into the schools before the school football season starts. But today we captured a suspect that was wanted for robbery and murder without contact with U.S. Marshals. Again, thank you for your donation. We also certified all of the police officers and county deputy sheriffs and security guards that's assigned to our school system, giving them more resources for us when they're in schools. pretty much to stop a crime or stop a tremendous incident that might occur.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett. Any questions,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Garrett?
No.
Thank you for coming, sir. McCoy, I'm sorry. Landmark Foundation, Dr. Elijah Gaddis.
Excuse me. So I'm Collier Neely, the Executive Director for the Landmarks Foundation. Dr. Gaddis is a previous president of ours. I just thank y'all again for continuing to support the Landmarks Foundation in Old Alabama Town. I think we are probably one of Montgomery's oldest private partners. We've been in partnership with the City of Montgomery since 1968 after the purchase of the Ordman Shaw House. This year we saw 23,000 school children from across the state of Alabama. That's from 55 counties and a couple from Georgia and Florida as well, coming through Old Alabama Town, providing history education and a hands-on experience to see how Alabama was in the 19th century. We also provide a partnership across the city through historic neighborhoods, historic preservation activism, as well as working with Montgomery Main Street. So that's what I've got for y'all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Coy?
No.
All right, thank you, sir. McCoy, Ms. Donna Marietta.
Good afternoon. I'm not Donna. Donna, unfortunately, is home with COVID, and a bad case of it, too. But I'm Chris Turman. I'm the development director there at Meals on Wheels. I know you fairly well now, and thank you for everything we've done this year. We provide hot meals and frozen meals to seniors who are in need. This year, we are now up to 455 hot meals per day, plus frozen meals that we deliver or have distributed twice a month. We also do frozen meals to those hot meal clients of ours who are nutritionally at risk. We give those out on Friday. We also give pet food, dog food, and cat food to our clients because we would rather them have that food instead of giving their pets their food. We've had a really great year. We've rebranded from McCoa to Meals on Wheels Montgomery, Alabama. We had a great year with that success. We have a new big change coming this year as Donna is stepping down as the CEO. We are actively looking for her replacement. She is not leaving us, however. She is going to take on a new role of managing all of our donors and looking for new prospects for donors. So it's going to be a big change for us after a 12-year run, but she's done great work and we look forward to continuing on from there. We appreciate everything y'all do for us, the city and the county, and all the funding that you provide for us. We will continue to do our part in our fundraising events and our grant writing and all the things that we do to serve our clients' needs.
All right, thank you, sir. Any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Keep up the good work, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Montgomery Community Action Agency, Dr. Benjamin Jones, Director.
Not this one.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Okay.
Benjamin Jones. I'm the CEO of Montgomery Community Action Committee and CDC Inc. I was asked to bring some information. I'll ask Mr. Tabb to pass that to you all. At Montgomery Community Action, we certainly works with the LIHEAP and CSBG Community Services Block Grant, and we assist the citizens of Montgomery County with utilities, rent, and things of that nature. We have the Head Start program. We serve 1,206 children and families. We have some senior programs. We have youth programs, and we appreciate all of the support from Montgomery City and the county to continue our programs.
All right. Ms. Jones, any questions?
Mr. President.
Ms. Johnson.
Mr. Jones, I got a couple of questions for you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Jones, I, for one, have District 3, which is one of the many underserved communities.
District 4 also.
And it has been brought to my attention on multiple occasions that by the 3rd of the month, there is no funding. And so I need to have an understanding on how does that work, what is the process, because I need to get that out to my constituency because that is the goal, if I'm not mistaken, for community action, but there is no help going into the community. And it's the service that's being provided. They're outside, there's nobody picking up the phone, there's no appointments, and there's no funding. I need help to understand what the problem is.
Well, I'm not aware of that there's an issue with money being gone by the 3rd of the month. There may be no appointments by the 3rd of the month. because the appointment line fills up extremely fast. As you know, we work with a limited amount of funds. Our funding comes from HHS by ADECA for the LIHEAP and CSBG assistance. So certainly we have a limited amount of dollars. So we open up the appointment line. We have a certain number of persons working as community advocates, and those persons can only see a certain number of people per day. So the line is open and it fills up immediately. But we do have people can walk up at any time. If their services are disconnected, those services, they will get help at that time. So I'm not sure. We do have an answering service, so I'm not sure why someone wouldn't be able to get through, because it is an answering service for the appointment line. But once it fills up, there's nothing else we can do. Now, I will say that we certainly would entertain some additional funds so we can hire some more people. We would love to have that.
Well,
we can increase that service.
let's get back into that since you asked. Since we brought it up, there's a teacher shortage with Head Start.
It is.
And I know that you have a shortage of employees for numerous reasons, but what is the plan of action to maintain compliance with Head Start and with your programming and the capacity of community action? Because at this point, I don't see that you're meeting that capacity. If the appointments are filling fast, is it due to personnel?
No, the appointments are filling fast because we have a lot of citizens in Montgomery County.
We do, but they're not getting all the help. So I'm asking with the appointments, how many appointments per person do you have per case manager, and how many case managers do you have?
We have 8 case managers, and they operate about every 15 minutes they can do a case. So they maximize the number during the day, but they also leave some time to assist those persons who have already had their services disconnected. So they may have some walk-ups, and they work with them in between time. But we certainly need more of those persons to do that. The appointment line fills up and it's automated. So it is not a person sitting there, it's just automated. When they call in and they make the appointments, once the line is filled, there's nothing we can do with that. But as I say, we try to assist persons in between, and we certainly try our best to make sure that if someone is off, we get them turned on immediately. So they work very hard to do that.
Okay.
As far as the employment of teachers, we have a shortage like pretty much everybody throughout the country with the shortage of employees, because since COVID, it's been hard to maintain full employment. And we're working, we're having job fairs, we're striving to hire people as often as we can. If you know some people who are available and teach, we certainly would love for you to send them to us.
Yeah, I definitely saw the posting for the job fair. At council, while we're at this juncture, I would ask that we look at those appointments that we have at Community Action. I know I said it last meeting, but you weren't there. But we want to.
I came to last meeting, but my time that I was invited was 3 o'clock, but
Yeah.
your meeting was at 2 o'clock.
Oh, goodness, okay. So yeah, I want us to, I asked if we all look at our appointments at Community Action for that board and have those board members look at these bylaws that were amended back in June of 2022. I'm quite certain that things have to change at this point in time. And I'd ask that we look at CHIP. I know that the mayor isn't here right now, but that we look at the funding and that we're giving to Community Action to see if that is still something feasible for us to do. And I asked that, and I wanted to ask and put that in the minutes, because I think that's something we definitely need to look into. And I know I've asked Stacy to look at something else. I don't know if Stacy, did you get the information about that audit?
The audit.
Okay.
She did mention the audit. I brought a copy of our audit if you like it.
Yes, sir, please.
Certainly. We've had 3 years of clean audits, so we're very proud of our audits. And
all right, any other questions, Mr. Jones?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Jones.
Mr. President.
Appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
All right. Montgomery Tech Lab Accelerator Program, Dr. Marcus Shaw. And Sharice Stokes, I think she called. Is she here? She called, and I think she said she couldn't make this meeting. She was trying to get rescheduled.
She couldn't make the next one, so she wanted on this one, if I remember correctly. But we can reschedule her for the next one. but-
Okay, all right, that's cool. All right, thank
That's
you. Anyone else have anything for the council? All right, the time is now 5:10. We will recess to 5:20 and to start our regular council meeting at 5:20. Thank you, meeting adjourned.